Alright, greetings everyone. This video is going to be a guide slash overview of the fleet build that I am using for Battlefleet Gothic Armada, my Imperial Navy fleet. We'll start with our battleship here up at the top, but the first thing I want to say is I am using the Adeptus Mechanicum favor on all of my ships. The ability gives each ship +1 skill, +1 upgrade, and reduces the repair cost of each ship by 50%. So that is the favor that we are using on all of our fleet. It is currently the best Imperial Navy favor to use, which is why we use it. All right, and so for our upgrades, on all of our macro broadside torpedo using ships, so our Retribution, our Overlord, and our 2 Tyrants, as well as our Dauntless Mark IIs, which are torpedo-based light cruisers, you can see them there, and macro cannons. The upgrades that we are using are short burn torpedoes. This ship's torpedo speed is improved by 50%. That gives torpedoes an incredible amount of movement speed, an absolute must-have for torpedo using ships. Our second upgrade is indeed armor-piercing ammunition. I do like to play this fleet as a very tanky, very brawler-class fleet. I'm usually broadside to broadside with my opponents as much as possible. Our third upgrade is indeed the Advanced Cogitator Linkages. Advanced Cogitator Linkages allows Brace for Impact, which is what we use as our primary special command, to last 50% longer. Voss Pattern Void Shield. Voss Pattern Void Shield gives your ship's shields a 25% chance to deny damage. With the exception of disruption bombs, this can absorb Nova Cannon shots, plasma bomb shots, all forms of weaponry, just not torpedoes and ramming, of course, obviously. As long as the shields are up, 25% chance to negate any damage, including plasma bombs and Nova Cannons. Extremely useful against everything. I think pulsars are also included in that as well. It has a 25% chance to absorb pulsar damage as well. Our fourth upgrade, at least on our battleship, we are using belt armor. I think I have this on the rest of my ships too, but belt armor allows 1 critical damage negation. So, generators, deck, engines, something like that. We get to save it 1 time. And then, what else? I think our last upgrade is indeed maneuvering thrusters, which increases the rotation speed of the ship by 5 degrees per second. That doubles the rotation speed of the battleship, which is extremely important. It allows you to do a lot of very quick maneuvers with the battleship. It's really good. I just realized I don't have this on my other ships. On my other ships, I do have the additional Void Shield generator. You can see that down here on my Tyrant. I do have the additional Void Shield generator, which gives 100 points of shield. I think that's on the rest of my ships. Yeah, you can see that here. As for our Mars and our Dominator class, now on our Mars class, I do have the automated refueling systems to give the squadron cooldown, squadrons a 20% cooldown. That allows you to put out a lot more fighters or bombers for both defense and offense, which is really nice. And on our Dominator, I do have the increased sensor relay. Since I'm not doing a whole lot of brawling with this ship, here it is. Yeah, improved auger array. The detection range of this ship is raised by 2,500 units. So I do have that. As for the rest of the upgrades, Voss Pattern Void Shield, additional Void Shield generator, Cogitator linkages to increase the duration of reload. That way our stuff stays on cooldown less. We can use our things more often. And then I do have armor-piercing ammunition because it is macro cannon broadside. It's extremely useful. And on our Mars class, I do have the auxiliary shield capacitors to get the increased shield recharge rate. That's pretty important for a ship, especially against Eldar. The Dominator and the Mars are definitely meant as anti-Eldar ships. That's just kind of the current meta right now. The best way to deal with Eldar is with Nova Cannon ships. As for our skills, all the way down here on our Dauntlesses, we do have just the... Oh, I'm sorry, we have 2 skills. We have Supercharged Void Shields, 10 seconds of invulnerability, super important for survivability and all kinds of things like that. Brawling, dealing with pulsars, everything like that. And then we do have Taunt, like I said. This is meant to deal with Eldar as well as Chaos. Pretty much any of the factions that want to run away from you, you want to use Taunt to bring them back. The third skill that we have on our Dominators is indeed Micro Warp Jump, once again, to either, gain distance or close the distance. If we want to be farther away from an enemy to use our Nova Cannon, we do that. If we want to be closer to use our Macro Cannons, we can do that as well with Micro Warp Jump. As for our Overlords, our Overlord has Micro Warp Jump to where our Mars has the Recon Beacon. Because once again, our Mars is meant to sit back. It's not meant to engage. It's not meant to really be in the fight. It is meant to sit back. It is meant to be anti-Eldar. So we do have the Recon Beacon. But on our Overlord, our fourth skill is indeed the Enhanced Induction Cells. This allows us to chase. We can Micro Warp Jump closer. Then we can use All Ahead Full until it's empty. Use Enhanced Induction Cells. And then just All Ahead Full all the way up again. It really allows us to cover the ground against Eldar and the like. Chaos especially as well. And then on our battleship, we do have all the same skills, as well as Recon Beacon and Enhanced Induction Cells. Same thing. The battleship, being as slow as it is, needs to be able to see our opponents as well as catch up to them with Enhanced Induction Cells and Micro Warp Jump. Super important. As for our Widowmakers, we do have the improved Augur Array. That just increases their detection range even more. Emission Dissipator, special maneuvers no longer reveal the ship. Super useful, as well as the efficient Plasma Thrusters for that additional combustion gauge. This is our scout ship. It's got to be able to get in and out of the fight quickly. That's why we have these two upgrades. As for our Cobras, short burn torpedoes. It's a torpedo ship. It's what it does. Cogitator linkages. Brace for impact is so important on all of our ships, except for our Firestorms. We use lock-on for Firestorms. But yeah, and then we also took the extra 50 points of shields with the additional Void Shield Generator. As for our Firestorms, Cogitator linkages. We are going to be using lock-on for the increased crit chance. Refined lenses for the increased lance range, and then disruption overcharge for that 50% increased damage to shields. This is our sniper escort. We do use these as kind of like a backline artillery piece. We do spam with them. It's kind of fun. As for our swords, they're up close, they're personal, armor piercing ammunition, and rotation speed. And we get rotation speed on our swords because the faster they can turn around to readjust their guns, the more damage per second they're doing. So that's super important when it comes to that. This is definitely a very brawl-heavy ship. It's meant to be up close, it's meant to be personal, it's meant to be shooting a lot. As for our transports, they die really quickly, so we gave them the additional Void Shield Generator. That gives them 250 shields. Voss Pattern, because they're gonna absorb damage, especially Nova Cannon shots or Plasma Bombs. And then Advanced Cogitator linkages to increase the duration of Brace for Impact. Really allows these ships to survive when they're being attacked by anything. And so yeah, that is our fleet. We do play it, like I said, as a very brawler fleet. It is up close, it is personal, and it does do a lot of damage. It's a very successful fleet. You just have to make sure that you're always landing torpedoes, constantly using your special maneuvers to turn from side to side really quickly. If you can manage to do that, land your torpedoes, turn, stay out of the way of things, dodge rams, cover the distance, close the gap, you will be very successful using this fleet. It is extremely effective against about every faction and has a very high survivability and damage as well. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Feel free to check out my other build videos for any questions you have as to the other fleets, and I will see you all for the next video.